This is Blythe Stevens, a Blythe coach, dance education and coaching to move through life with balance, grace, and power. And I'm here today with my yoga mats and some yoga toys. This is not an advertisement or certainly not sponsored by anyone, at least yet, but in sharing yoga and in sharing dance online these last few weeks, I've been thinking it would be fun, maybe you're curious as to what sorts of tools I use to assist my practice. So it's certainly possible to do yoga and to dance with just a flat surface on the floor. In fact, it's been done probably for thousands of years like this. But it can also be extremely helpful to use certain props and tools to facilitate greater stretching or to help with balance as that's developing. And so I just thought I'd do a little session here to share with you what it is that I use and recommend if you'd like to try it. A couple of props that I don't have with me today are a blanket or a towel and a yoga strap or a belt. And you can actually use a regular belt or a hand towel or something like that also as a tool, like you would a yoga strap. The nice thing about a yoga strap is that it does have an adjustable length, like a big adjustable belt. And so in certain poses where you would otherwise be reaching with the hands when this is too much or in order to relax parts of the body, you're able to grip or attach a strap to help with the pose. So I do think that's a really great tool if you can add it to your toolkit. And a blanket or towel is also great because you can fold it in a variety of ways to create a cushion for underneath you, underneath your shoulders, for example, and head in a shoulder stand, or just to cushion the spine when rolling, or to create a bit of a lift in your hips when we're sitting for meditation or in seated poses to help with hamstring stretch and things like this. Another tool that's great for creating that lift and also for multiple other purposes is a yoga block or two. These were extremely helpful for me when I was developing my downward facing dog. It's come a long way in recent years, but originally I had a really hard time getting the heels to contact with the floor in downward dog. And of course, all of us have different body geometry, and so certain poses will be easier and certain poses will be harder. So for me, downward dog was really a struggle for a long time. And one tool among many that has helped me with that pose was to use yoga blocks underneath the hands, like so. It allowed me to get that nice lift to the hips, tail up towards the ceiling, and to reach the heels strongly down into the floor. It's so awesome, and I still sort of have that same image in my mind now. They can also be really great for poses that would otherwise be unsupported. So you'd have your hands free floating, but at first you might need some help with balance. So for example, half moon pose, we're standing onto one leg, and someday we're reaching the hand free floating in the air to the side. But to start with, you either have one block on its side or two stacked up, whatever is appropriate for you, and you can actually press into the hand as we open up into the side body. Love a yoga block or a thick book can also be used for this purpose. So helpful in our yoga practice. So yeah, that is a blanket, yoga strap, and blocks. What other toys do I have? Well, funny you should ask. Actually, one of the first tools besides a yoga mat that I did invest in about a year ago to add to my practice. Kind of a minimalist, so I don't like using a lot of extra stuff. But for yoga specifically, although they can be used for other purposes, are yoga paws. There's probably other brands of these, and I know they can be used for weightlifting and things like this. So before I traveled to Germany, actually, I invested in these puppies. This is the one for the feet. It goes around the back of the heel, and then your toes go here, and there's a nice grippy yoga mat-like material on the bottom. And then they also have it for the hands, and they go in like this. And so as you're planting the weight down into the palm of the hand in your yoga shapes, you're able to press without sliding onto the hands and feet. So I didn't have the space or weights. I was just backpacking to have a full yoga mat with me, but I knew I wanted to keep practicing daily. These, of course, don't provide the cushioning underneath you when you're lying down, so you might still want to practice on a carpet or a rug, or who knows what surface you have while traveling. But as a very compact yoga mat alternative, and if you want to keep your daily practice going, these things were awesome. I now take them every time I travel so that I can keep my yoga going. I just keep them in this little pouch. And another thing I put into this pouch before traveling that I never want to travel without again, actually, I originally got from my chiropractor. This is not the same one, but this is a very similar thing. They're similar to actually a lacrosse ball. So if that's what you have access to, a lacrosse ball, then use that. It's the same thing essentially. It's just a firm rubber ball. And so what we do is roll around on it. You can roll against a wall, or you can roll around on the floor with the ball underneath. Your pain points, for me, that is the shoulder blades and the neck, but you can certainly use it under the hips or anything like that. And it's so great to be able to use gravity and self-massage. That's actually part of what inspired this video in the first place too, is thinking with isolation and all of this, most of us don't have access to massage now. Even if we did have access before and could afford it, you can't go in and get a massage very easily from someone else. So it really behooves us in our self-care to do some self-massage. It just feels so good. So using the pain ball is an everyday thing for me, and even though it's a bit heavy, I do take this when I travel too, because there's just nothing else that quite provides the same relief. Yeah, the pain ball. So speaking of self-massage, another awesome self-massage tool, which is not as portable, although I have a fairly portable one myself. There are longer versions of these, of course, and ones that have no texture. They're just a flat sort of foam. It's a foam roller. Yes, it's a foam roller. This one's hollow. This has been something that I've also used for years with my physical therapy. Not really a yoga prop, but related. And I guess I was introduced to this in physiotherapy for my knee, because the outer thigh, my IT band, tends to be very tight. And if that is tight and the interior of the thigh is a bit weak, the kneecap doesn't quite track like it should. And so one solution to that, in addition to a lot of strengthening exercises, is to stretch and release in the outer thigh. It's a bit difficult to stretch. I do know some stretches, which I can share with you for this area, but one of the best things is a foam roller by far. And using the foam roller and getting that deep tissue massage with a physical therapist, showed me that you really have to roll the ever-loving life out of it, almost to the point of bruising for some, to get a release there. So don't hurt yourself, but know that quite a bit of pressure sometimes can help. And you can roll the back and shoulders. That also feels amazing, but it's also really great for the thighs. I guess this is a good time, as good a time as any, to say, of course, all of these recommendations are pending approval from your own doctor, your own physical therapist. I'm not a medical professional, so if you do have specific physical concerns or difficulties, then please do talk to a healthcare professional before you take any of this advice upon yourself. It's just what works for me, and so I wanted to pass along these ideas to you in case they're not yet part of your personal practice. Love the foam roller. Definitely also like to use it on the back and shoulders like so. And you can get very creative with how that might look for you. Okay, one more yoga toy to share today. That is actually a new one for me, which unfortunately my cat attacked. It's a cushion. It's just a Zafu pillow. But again, same idea as with the yoga blocks or a folded blanket or something like this. For some of us, it's not so easy to sit upright, especially for any period of time. But for us to sit upright. So this is a really little portable one. There's big Zafu pillows, sort of Japanese style meditation cushions. But for sitting onto the floor, there's just nothing quite like having a little lift under the sit bones to let them fall right underneath you and find a nice neutral spine and balance and ease in sitting for meditation practice, or for your pranayama and breathing practices in yoga, even certain stretches. Having a bit of lift under the seat can facilitate a more comfortable or more effective stretch. So yeah, that's all of the yoga toys or props that I wanted to share with you today. Let me know what you think. What tools do you use for self-massage, self-care, for yoga stretching? I'm keen to hear about what are your favorite tools that help you stretch or become comfortable for yoga practice. So do let me know, and if you like this, please let me know that too. If you have any comments, I welcome private messages as well. I'm here for you at this wild time and always. And until next time, hope you have a wonderful day.